Welcome to Secker Academy. This is Module 4 about AZ-900 Microsoft Azure Fundamental Certification Real Exam video series. In this module, I am going to provide 20 more real exam questions and answers. Let's begin the AZ-900 exam question number 31. For each of the following statements, select yes if the statement is true, otherwise select no. Each correct selection is worth 1 point. Here few statements we have. The statements are: a standard support plan is included in a Azure free account. A premier support plan can only be purchased by companies that have an enterprise agreement. A third statement is support from MSDN forms is only provided to companies that have a pay-as-you-go subscription. So let's start the first statements. A standard support plan is included in an Azure free account. So that is no, since there is no support plan available for the Azure free account. So the answer is here no. The next statement is a premier support plan can only be purchased by companies that have an enterprise agreement. This is yes. A premier support plan can only be availed to companies having enterprise agreement. So then only a premium support plan will be available from Microsoft Azure. The third statement is here: support from MSDN forums is only provided to companies that have a pay-as-you-go subscription. This is no, because support from the MSDN forums is always free for all the support plans. So answer here we have no. AZ-900 exam question number 32. This question requires that you evaluate the underlying text to determine if it is correct. A support plan solution that gives you best practice information, health status and notifications, and 24/7 access to billing information at the lowest possible cost is a standard support plan. Instructions here: review the underlying text. If it makes the statement correct, select no, change is needed. If the statement is incorrect, select the answer choice that makes the statement correct. The question it is here: a support plan solution that gives you best practice information, health status, notifications and 24/7 access to the billing information at the lowest possible price is a standard support plan. So the answer is here basic, right? So getting the best practice information about the health status and the notifications and 24/7 access to the billing information, these are all accessible for the basic as well. So when we consider the lowest possible cost, right? So this is the cheapest support plan we have in Azure. Standard support plan, it is also support what we see, right, the solution, but cost, when you consider the cost, lowest possible cost, then the answer is B. AZ-900 exam question number 33. The question is here: in which Azure support plan can you open a new support request? The options we have: A. Premier and Professional Direct only, B. Premier, Professional Direct and Standard only, C. Premier, Professional Direct, Standard, Developer and Basic, D. Premier, Professional Direct, Standard and Developer only. So the question it is says that Azure support plan where you can open the new support request, right? So the answer is here D. Why? Because D options we have Premier, it's supposed to raise a new support request, and even for the under the professional direct, standard and developer. So remaining, when we see that the developer is missing in the A and B options, C it has a basic, but basic under the basic support plan we will not be able to raise a new support request. So the right answer is here D, Premier, Professional Direct, Standard and Developer only. AZ-900 exam question number 34. This question requires that you evaluate the underlying text to determine if it is correct. The question is here, the Azure Standard Support Plan is the lowest cost option to receive 24/7 access to support engineers by phone. Instructions we have: review the underlying text. If it makes the statement correct, select no changes needed. If the statement is incorrect, select the answer choice that makes the statement correct. The options we have: no changes needed, developer, professional direct and basic, right? So standard support plan, it's a lowest cost options to get the support from the engineers via phone. So the answer is here no changes needed. AZ-900 exam question number 35. Note, this question is part of series of questions that present the same scenario. Each question in the series contains a unique solution that might meet the stated goals. Some question kits might have more than one correct solution, while others might not have a correct solution. After you answer a question in this section, you will not be able to return to it. As a result, these questions will not appear in the review screen. Question starts from here. Your company plans to purchase an Azure subscription. The company's support policy states that the Azure environment must provide an option to access support engineers by phone or email. You need to recommend which support plan meets the support policy requirement. The solution is here, recommend a basic support plan. So does this solution meet the goal? Options we have yes and no, right? So when we need the support from the engineers by a phone or email, basic support plan will not give you the support or ability to raise a request, right, with support engineer. So the answer is here no. AZ-900 exam question number 36. This question is part of series of questions that present the same scenario. Each question in the series contains a unique solution that might meet the stated goals. Some question sets might have more than one correct solution, while others might not have a correct solution. After you answer the question in this section, you will not be able to return to it. As a result, these questions will not appear in the review screen. The question is same here, what we have seen in the question number 35. The solution is here, recommend a standard support plan, right? The options we have yes or no. So does the solution meet the goal? Yes, the answer is yes. Under the standard support plan, we can raise a support request with support engineers via phone or email. So the right answer is yes. AZ-900 exam question number 37. The question is same here, but the provided solution is different. Solution is here, recommend a premier support plan. Does this solution meet the goal? Right? So the answer is yes. See, under the premier support plan, we will be able to raise a support request with support engineers by phone or email. So answer is yes. AZ-900 exam question number 38. So now again this question is same. The provided solution is different, right? So the solution is here, recommend a professional direct support plan. Does this solution meet the goal? Options we have A yes and B no. And again, professional direct support plan supports to raise a request and contact support engineers by phone or email. So the right answer is here A yes. AZ-900 exam question number 39. Your company plans to request an architectural review of an Azure environment from Microsoft. The company currently has a basic support plan. You need to recommend a new support plan for the company. The solution must minimize the cost. Which support plan should you recommend? Right? The options we have: A, standard; B, premier; C, developer; D, professional direct. Right? The right answer is here premier. So we need company plans to request an architectural review of an Azure environment, right? So the remaining the plans will not support, since architectural review is required here for the company. So the right solution, it is here B, premier. The next question, AZ-900 exam question number 40. What does a customer provide in a software as a service model, SaaS model? So options we have: A, application data; B, compute resources; C, application software; D, data storage. Right? So under the software as service solution, right, under the software as service model, we only need to provide as a customer, right? So application data. All right, the right answer is here A, application data. AZ-900 exam question number 41. Your company has data centers in Los Angeles and New York. The company has a Microsoft Azure subscription. You are configuring the two data centers as geo-clustered sites for site resiliency. You need to recommend an Azure storage redundancy option. You have the following data storage requirements. Data must be stored on multiple nodes. Data must be stored on nodes in separate geographic locations. Data can be read from the secondary locations as well as from the primary location. Which of the following Azure stored redundancy options should you recommend? Right? The options we have: geo redundant storage, read access geo redundant storage, zone redundant storage, locally redundant storage. Right? So the requirements we have here: data must be stored in multiple nodes, right? And data must be stored on nodes in separate geographic locations, right? And data can be read from the secondary locations as well as from the primary locations. So right answer is read access geo redundant storage. So under this we can use the primary location, and also we can get the read access to the secondary locations, right? So when we have any site resiliency, the right option is here B, read access geo redundant storage. AZ-900 exam question number 42. For each of the following statements, select yes if the statement is true, otherwise select no. Each correct selection is worth 1 point. In this answer area, there are three statements, right? So let's go to the statement 1. Data that is stored in an Azure storage account automatically has at least 3 copies, right? Data that is stored in an Azure storage account automatically at least 3 copies, The options we have yes or no. The right answer is yes, right? So data stored in the Azure storage account can automatically have a 3 copies that we can configure to have the 3 copies in the storage account. The next statement is here: all data that is copied to an Azure storage account is backed up automatically to another Azure data center. All data that is copied to an Azure storage account is backed up automatically to another Azure data center. So the right answer is here option no, right? So there is no possibility, in the copy the data, all the data from one data center to another data center here, right? So there is a cost is in the Azure. The next statement is an Azure storage account can contain up to 2 TB of data and up to 1 million files. So here again, so there is no limit to keep the 1 million files only in the Azure storage account. The right answer is here no. AZ-900 exam question number 43. The question starts from here. You plan to map a new network drive from several computers that run Windows 10 to Azure storage. You need to create a storage solution in Azure for the planned map drive. What should you create? Options we have: A, an Azure SQL database; B, a virtual machine data disk; C, a file service in a storage account; D, a blob service in a storage account. So you plan to map a network drive from several computers that run Windows 10 to Azure storage. So you need to create a storage account solution in Azure for the planned map drive, right? So the right answer is here C, a file service in a storage account. So you need to you can map the file service in a storage account for this storage solution. AZ-900 exam question number 44. For each of the following statements, select yes if the statement is true, otherwise select no. Each correct selection is worth 1 point. Answer area. The statements are here. Statement 1. Storing 1 TB of data in Azure blob storage will always cost the same regardless of the Azure region in which the data is located. Right? The answer is no. So there is a different cost involved when we say the blob storage, like in the different regions, the cost will be the also different in Azure. The right answer is no. Statement 2. When you use a general purpose V2 Azure storage account, you are only charged for the amount of data that is stored. All read and write operations are free. The right answer is again option no. Right? So it is charged to when you are all the read operations, for the all the read operations it will cost free. It's a free of cost where you can read all the data. But for writing operations, again Azure will add the charges for that. Right? The right answer is no. Statement 3. Transferring data between Azure storage accounts in different Azure regions is free. Transferring data between Azure storage accounts in different Azure regions free. The answer is no again. So the transferring the data or writing the data into the another data and another Azure, right? So the data storage accounts, it's always cost. The right answer is here option no. AZ-900 exam question number 45. For each of the following statements, select yes if the statement is true, otherwise select no. Each correct selection is worth 1 point. So let's go to the answer area. The statements here. Statement 1. The archive access tier is set at the storage account level. The options we have yes and no. So the statement, the archive access tier is set at the storage account level. So the right answer is yes. We have the archive access tier we can set at the storage account level. So yeah, answer is yes. The next statement is the hot access tier is recommended for data that is accessed and modified frequently. Again, the answer is yes. Under the hot access tier, so we can we can access the data and we can also modify it frequently. So the statement, third statement, the cool access tier is recommended for long-term backups. This is no. Under the cool access tier, we cannot keep the do the long-term backups. So this is just kind of a limited, and there is a limited time only we can keep this backup. So we cannot recommend the cool access tier for the long term. The answer is no. AZ-900 exam question number 46. To complete the sentence, select the appropriate option in the answer area. The question is here: data that is stored in the archive access tier of an Azure storage account. Options we have: can be accessed at any time by using azcopy.exe, can only be read by using Azure backup, must be restored before the data can be accessed, must be dehydrated before the data can be accessed. Right? The question what it says, data that is stored in the archive access tier of an Azure storage account. So the right answer is must be dehydrated before the data can be accessed, right? So this is already the data, it is in the archive access tier. So when we want to access stored into the another storage to another storage account, right? So that should be first must be dehydrated before the data can be accessed. Then only it is accessible. The right answer is the last one. AZ-900 exam question number 47. For each of the following statements, select yes if the statement is true, otherwise select no. Each correct selection is worth 1 point. So the statements are here. Statement 1, an Azure free account has a spending limit. Yes, the answer is yes. Free account has this spending limit. An Azure free account has a limit of 2 TB of data that can be uploaded to Azure. So the second statement is option no. So there is no limit. So it's up to 5 TB we can upload, right? So 2 TB is not the right limit for the free account. Third statement is an Azure free account can contain an unlimited number of web apps. This is also no. So there is a limited number of web apps only can accessed. So under the free account, the option is no. Next question is here, AZ-900 exam question number 48. Your company plans to deploy several million sensors that will upload data to Azure. You need to identify which Azure resource must be recreated to support the planned solution, right? Which two Azure resources should you identify? Each correct answer presents the solution, part of the solution. Note, each correct selection is worth 1 point. The options we have: A. Azure Data Lake, B. Azure Queue Storage, C. Azure File Storage, D. Azure IoT Hub, E. Azure Notification Hubs. Right? Here we need to deploy several million sensors that will upload to data. Right? So the right solution is here A. Azure Data Lake and D. Azure IoT Hub. So these two service resources can create and to support the planned solution under this. The next question, AZ-900 exam question number 49. Note here, the question is included in a number of questions that depicts the identical setup. However, every question has a distinctive result. Establish if the solution satisfies the requirements. The question starts from here. You are planning to migrate a company to Azure. Each of the company's numerous divisions will have an administrator in a place to manage the Azure resources used by their respective division. You want to make sure that the Azure deployment you employ allows for Azure to be segmented for the divisions while keeping administrator effort to a minimum, right? So you want to make sure that the Azure deployment you employ allows for Azure to be segmented for the divisions and while keeping administrator effort to a minimum cost, right? Solution is here. You plan to make use of several Azure directories. Does the solution meet this goal? The options we have A, S and B, no, right? The solution what we see that you plan to make use of several Azure Active directories. So this will not solve the solution, right? This will not the right solution where we when you plan to migrate the company to Azure and then numerous divisions will have the administrator plus manage Azure resources used by their respective divisions. So AD will not give you the right possible solution here. So the answer is no. AZ-900 exam question number 15. The question is included in a number of questions that depicts the identical setup. However, every question has a distinctive result. Establish if the solution satisfies the requirements. Question starts from here. Your company's Active Directory forest includes thousands of user accounts. You have been informed that all network resources will be migrated to Azure. Thereafter, the on-premises data center will be retired. You are required to employ a strategy that reduces the effort on users once the planned migration has been completed. Right? So solution is here. You plan to sync all the Active Directory user accounts to Azure Active Directory AD. Does the solution meet the goal? The options we have: A yes, B no. The right answer is yes. So under the AD we can plan, sync all the Active Directory user accounts to the Azure Active Directory. So that will solve uh, give the solution for this statement. So we are completing the module 4. If you like the video series, please share and subscribe. Thanks for watching the video series.